Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at 80s horror. I'm going to, I've made a track. I'm going to take you through the track itself. I'm going to take a lot of influence from obviously John Carpenter, so the likes of Halloween theme, the Fog theme, also The Exorcist as well, by Mike Oldfield. So we'll take a look at all those and then get an inspiration from modern day horror tracks like Saw, the Saw theme, and of course the Walking Dead theme as well. So I've already pre-made this track, so what I'll do is I'll give you a quick playthrough of it, and then I'll go into detail on what I've done, and I'll give you a breakdown of everything that I've done on the track as well. Okay, so first I'm going to look at the main riff, which is an ARP. I'll quickly get it up for you now. So this is a riff. So this is the first part of the riff. Just a few notes, just repeating. So what I've done then for the second part of the riff, which is, so the first part is 8-bar loop, and then again the second part is an 8-bar loop. So what I've done for the second part of the riff is I brought everything down by 2 semitones. So I've just copied the first part over here and brought it down by 2 semitones. Now you see that happening a lot in horror tracks. John Carpenter did it quite a lot, and more recently the Walking Dead theme. If you listen to that, all that is it's just the same notes brought down 2 semitones. It gives you kind of an eerie horror theme. So what I've then done is I've started the track with the riff, and then I've dropped the whole riff down 1 octave. Which again, likes of the Walking Dead and stuff like that, do that. Now the harp is completely dry. I have nothing on there at all. And this sound is from Anna. Now this is one of the presets from Anna. It's one of the expansion packs. Synthwave pack. And it's just called a simple palette. Nothing at all done to it. It's just dropped straight in like that. What I've then done is I've then layered that with a piano sound. It sounds like this. And this is taken from the M1. This is called Res Piano. So if you go to Programs, Browser, Piano, and then Res Piano is there. Again, this is dry. Nothing on this at all. And that's just layering underneath. It's not doing the octave changes. It's just on the same octaves. It's not changing with the harp. And that just adds a bit more depth to it. So one of the other riffs is the pedal riff. Now this is just 1 note, which is C. And this again is taken from Anna. And it's again from the Synthwave pack. It's just a choir noise, so this just sounds like this. And that just gives a track a bit of atmosphere. So what I've also then done is we'll look at the bass next. So when you play this with the harp, so the bass again is Anna. What I've done on this one, I've actually took the cut off and stuff down. I had a little mess around with the envelopes. It's not quite the preset I loaded up. And again, this is totally dry as well. And this is a bass. Change. And then when you play that with the harp, okay, so then what I've done, I've added a string. Now this is just a string hit. Using expand. And this just has some reverb on it. So what I've done at this is I've took the wet knob up a little bit. I've added a bit more decay. That's basically it from the actual default preset. And this hits on the C note C7, and it hits when the snare would hit. So it sounds like this by itself. And again, it's very low in volume, and it just adds a little bit extra to it. Okay, so what I've then done is I've added a choir in. And again, this is using Expand, and this is just some of the presets from Expand, which is the very first one under vocals. And this again is totally dry in the mixer, and this choir sounds like this. Then the change. So we had that in the mix. And then the final synth added in is an organ layer, and this is added in at the very end, the last 16 bars, just to give the end of the track a slightly different feel to the main drop part of the track. This is just an organ, again using M1, not even named, so we'll name that now while we're here. Again, dry, nothing on it. This actually has some reverb already on it. We've took that actually down a bit above the chorus where it is, and this sounds like this. So it's just a very subtle layer just to make it sound slightly different when it's playing. Okay, so that's the main synths and the bass line. What I'll look at next is some of the percussion that I've added into the track. So the first thing I've added in is a kick. It sounds like this. Now what I've added to this, obviously a filter. With an EQ, it was very, very bright, and I didn't want it to be very bright or very high end, so I've cut that out, and I've cut a little bit of the middle out as well. So without the EQ, and then with it again, just makes it a bit darker. So what I've done with this is I've added a filter in. So I've just gone to here, filter. I've then took the high pass completely down, and I've right clicked on the cut off, create automation. And when you create an automation, it brings it in. And I've then just, so once it's up, there's no filter on. Once it's down, it's cut off up full. So you get this kind of noise. And that just has like the kick filtering up. What I have got right throughout the track is this shaker sound. So what I've got on the shaker, some EQ cutting quite a lot of the low end off because I don't need none of that in. See, there's quite a lot of stuff going on here. There's no need for any of that in at all. That's just going to mess up with your final mix. And then reverb's just the default reverb with the default preset with the wet knob tucked down a little bit more. Now what I've actually done with this, I've actually in here I've changed the volume. So just grab these. So I've got the first one is the loudest, and then it goes up in volume. What I've also done is change the pan. So if you go to control at the bottom, pan, and I've just panned them left and right. And then what I've done, once I've got the the first one done, I've just copied all that right across, so you get kind of wishy-washy panny sound. So that goes right throughout the track. What kicks in here is hi-hats and a tambourine. So they both go to the same as the shaker, so they're getting the same reverb and the same EQ as the rest of the percussion. There's a hi-hat, very straightforward, and then the tambourine. So again, we've altered the volume. The first note is the loudest one, and then it goes slightly quieter. And this, the pan, is dead center on this. So when you put them together with, of course, the shakers, you get this. And with the kick as well. We've also done is added a snare in. Okay, so what we've done with this is we've actually used a send. So we've gone to here, the send, we've gone to add, I've added this in. This is a preset again. Undo this, bang. And then all I've done is added decay, I've added more decay time. I've added, I brought the cut off up, and I've brought that down as well. That up a bit, sorry, as well. And I've added a little bit of cut off to bring some of the bass of the reverb out. And then all you need to do to send it to there, that should actually be snare, is just at the bottom here, to turn that wheel up. So you get this. Just it dry. And then when you play it together with all the rest of the percussion, with the bass as well, the rest of the track. And then what I've done here is this is just a filter, and it filters down again for this part of the track. And so that's the percussion as well. So now I'll have a quick look at the effects I've added in. So the effects in this track are very minimal. I have a crash sound. I've assigned this to track 2. So if I listen to it dry. So what I've done with that, I've added an EQ in, cutting the low end off, added a bit of high end. And I've added a reverb as well. And then I've added a delay. The reverb default setting with more decay. Now what I've done with this is presets, send effects, change this to 4 steps, change this, the feedback, so the feedback goes on for longer. So if you take it down like this, fades out quicker, and then obviously if it's longer, you get more of a feedback. Turn it down a bit, and then we just brought these two down here. We brought this one to what, about 1 o'clock, and this one to about 11. What I've then done is I've copied it, and then just hit reverse, so you get like a filter up effect. And then lastly, I've added a horror noise in. It sounds like this. Okay, so what this actually is, which is actually stretched as well. So if I make it normal and then turn the effects off, you get this. with the effects on. And all I've done with that is I've just stretched that out. So if you click up here, stretch, it will allow you to stretch the audio. I've just stretched it out, and I've not changed. I've kept the kept it a resample, so it's when it stretches the audio out, it also changes the pitch of it as well. So you get like a lower pitch. So I can turn this back off, and all that will do is just change this. It won't actually resize or stretch the sample. Okay, so that's all the elements of the track. What I'm going to have a look at next is the actual layout and structure of a track. Okay, so like I said earlier on, I started off with a higher synth, and then that drops down when the bass kicks in and the pedal kicks in, that drops down 1 octave. And then at the end of when the change comes in, have the kick starting to filter up. And then when it kicks in here, what we've also added in is the strings and the hi-hat. And then the second part, when the choir comes in, we also bring the snare in as well. And then what we do then is we filter out the kick and go into a drop. And what we're going to do is bring back the high riff. Now this will give the track a bit of breathing room, so it's not the same sounds you're hearing over and over again. We take everything out, we strip the bass and everything out, and we just have the kick playing with the filter on it. And then once we kick back in here, we add all the elements back in. So what we need to do is we need to start introducing the elements slowly here, because if you don't have these elements, let's say for example, if we delete those, we don't have these elements, there's too much starting at once, because remember we've got the high riff going into the low riff, so that's one sort of effect we've got going there. And we're also going to bring everything back in, and it's going to be too much to bring back in. So what we're doing is we're slowly introducing elements back in here, so that there's not as many things kicking in at once. Otherwise you'll have something like this. So like I said, yeah, we want to introduce them slowly. So what I've done is for the second part, when the change kicks in, we're going to start filtering the kick up. What I've also done here is just added a little extra note for the kick. And then we'll also add the bass. So to move it across, if you hold shift, you can just drag it across. If you hold control and scroll the mouse wheel, it will change this size. And if you hold alt, it will change that size. That's just the mouse wheel. So I'm going to click it here, drag it across. So we have a couple elements coming back in. So like I said, there's not many coming back in. And then just for the last part of the track, we'll bring that organ in as well, just to make it sound different from this drop of the track. That's it really, so you've got that coming in. And what I've done at the end is I've dropped everything out and just kept the piano going for a little bit, just an extra 4 bars. We're also doing is filtering the kick out a bit and filtering the harp out. Now what I've also done at the end, I've actually added a tempo automation in, so that the tempo drops down as the track's ending, and that sounds like this. how I've done that is I have selected this, double click and drag, right click, create automation. What I've then done, go into this value here, right click, copy value, right click again, paste value, and I just drag this all the way down to the bottom. So that's it. So that's the that's all the elements of the track, and of course the layout and everything. What I'll look at next is the mixer. Okay, so I'm going to have a quick look at the mixer now. Mixer. So I've gone through all the tracks. Yep. So just the master. So what I've got here is a compressor. Now this is, there's nothing happening here, so the ratio is 1:1, so that basically means there's no compression happening at all. The only reason I'm using this is for the gain. So this is the main master settings I've got on this. It's just a light master on this, nothing too heavy. But I also had a compressor in, so when you're making a track, if you find that you know there's not enough drive or the track's too quiet going into the actual master settings, you can then give it a bit more gain, or again, if it's too hot going in, rather than mess around with these, you can just bring it back a little bit. So this, I just boosted this by 5.5, and this goes into ozone. What I've got here is an equalizer. So this is just a preset I've loaded up again. This is called CD Master. Then I've added a couple of extra things in. So we've got the EQ, which gives you this. Then what I've actually done is added an imager in. I brought the band 1 completely down because all bass parts of a track should be in mono. So when you mastering, or you're looking to master a track, the best thing to do is select the part of the track where most of it, where all your elements are in. So select that. So what we've done is added a bit more stereo width to these bands, and again we've kept this, made this mono. So you can listen to the bands, the single bands, solo the bands itself by using this feature here. So when you look at this here, this is obviously for your display. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the track sits mainly between 0 and +1. If it goes down, you can have phasing effects. So that means if someone's listening to this on mono speakers, it's going to sound absolutely horrible. You can have phasing effects. So you need to make sure, I mean, it can drop down below this, but as long as it doesn't stay below this, it comes back up, it's absolutely fine. And then we'll move on to this, which is like a parallel compressor. So all I've done with this is I've brought the compression down a little bit and the gain up a little bit on all of the bands. And again, we can look at the bands individually. So what you're seeing here, the red is what's being compressed. So you can see it's very light. And then the maximizer, which is basically a limiter. we can see what's happening here, and we can see how much it's limited by here. We've just brought this down, this threshold down to here. So that's it for the mixer settings, and that's it for the track overall. What I will do is I'll actually upload this and let you download this, so you can grab this from the description below. If any questions about it or anything else you'd like to ask, just leave it in the comments below. So that wraps this video up, and thanks for watching.